like the trip was a great experience for me to have, to get out of the country for the first time, and really value the friendships I made throughout the entire trip.
The Dominican Republic trip is important because every student should have the opportunity to travel outside of the country and to experience such a different culture. And I was able to take so much away, so much more than just learning Spanish. You learn about the language, the culture, the food, just the typical lifestyle that you live there, and how to have better friendships, better relationships in your life. And it is just so important that every student has the opportunity to do that.
On the trip to the Dominican Republic, I learned to appreciate what I already have. We stress a lot for nothing, even though their situation isn't really as ideal as it is here at some points. They are always like happy, and they're always like energetic and relaxed, and I feel like we should translate that, how they feel there, to here.
It taught me a lot more about Spanish and allowed me to experience a completely different culture. It also taught me that there are so many things we can do in the world, and we can visit and we can help people, and I think it inspired me to continue doing this for the rest of my life.
On the Dominican trip, I learned that just because you come from a different country doesn't mean that you're different than someone else. You have a different perspective once you come back from the Dominican trip because you realize what's important and you try and adjust to a different lifestyle again. It's harder to come back than it is to leave, and I think that's the most important skill you're going to learn in life, is adjusting to your environment.
I remember coming back off the plane and just feeling really weird, seeing a McDonald's or seeing just people running around doing their work. I guess I just learned how very different it is over there and how the values are different over there.
On the Dominican Republic trip, I learned that we're so very lucky to have what we have in this country. The whole concept of having a supply of water that flows out of the faucet whenever you turn it on that you can drink is not necessarily something to be counted there, and it was very interesting to see that.
On the trip to the Dominican Republic, I learned how truly lucky we are to be in a situation where we have such good education available to us, and where language is something that's so versatile. And I think it's really important to understand that in other countries, these things aren't as available, and it's really good to experience that firsthand.
So one thing I learned from our trip to the Dominican Republic is that people around the world can't be divided by language or differences in culture, and that we can find connections with people from different cultures.
A lot of them didn't have many material possessions, but I was really impressed by their attitude and the things that they did value. Their relationships and their family were very important, and they were some of the friendliest and most generous people that I've met.
When traveling on the Dominican Republic trip, I learned that it wasn't all about the immersion, it was about the experience and what you chose to make of the trip by talking to the locals and making the best of the situation.
One thing I took away from the Dominican trip is that whether or not it's going to be a good experience depends on the mindset that you have going into it. So if you go into the trip saying that I'm going to make the most of this, no matter what happens, you're going to have a good experience.
Trip to the Dominican Republic, I learned to appreciate what we have here in the U.S. I also learned the importance of community, and I really took away how much or how well they welcomed us into their community.
The trip to the Dominican Republic is really important because it exposes people to a different culture that we don't normally get to see, and you're immersed in the Spanish zone and a different culture with new people that you can learn a lot of new things from while having a great time as well.
The trip to the Dominican Republic is important because I think it helps students get a lot better at Spanish. It helps them grow as Spanish speakers, but on top of that, it gives them a culture shock. You really just you can't get by just speaking Spanish in a class.
I gained an appreciation for all that I have here. It was one of the most challenging things to return into a world with so many amenities and so much that we have. The problems that we have don't even amount to when is the next meal coming or where's the water from.
The ability to communicate with people is so basic and but so important.
Alright. So to me, the Dominican Republic trip was very important because it showed me a completely different culture that I had no idea even existed. I didn't realize how hospitable some people can be, and it was amazing for me to see such open arms to like just a bunch of Americans that they had no idea who we were, and they opened up their homes to us. They just showed us a whole new world that I don't think I would have ever experienced, and honestly, I loved it there, and I would love to go back and visit and maybe live there. And it really confirmed for me like what I want to do in the future, and that I want to be a Spanish teacher and like live in a foreign country. And I honestly think that the Dominican, because of this trip, is the country that I want to live in.